Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we're back here in career mode for the Mexican GP qualifying, the season finale. As you can see in front of us, got to sort out a bit of a sponsorship renewal in a second. However, before we do that, we'll have a quick review of the last race. If you haven't watched that, guys, then click off the video now because we're about to go and have a chat about that, because it was a bit of a disaster for us, honestly. It really was. Really was a bit of a disaster for us last time out. We struggled in quali, didn't have the pace. In the race, we got promoted up the order a bit, then it got a decent start, and we had it for the first few laps. And then we just seemed to hit rock bottom with pace. We just couldn't find it at all. And then, of course, the crash. I mean, I'll tell you what I was thinking at that point. Like, that point in the Grand Prix, I was pushing it. I already thought, right, okay, the thing we've got to do is we've got to throw everything at it. And that's what we went for. We threw everything at it. I was just literally, like, you could tell the tyre wear was causing us problems. You know, when we go flat out through that right-hander that's always flat, unless you want to lift, through that right-hander, and then all of a sudden the car just sliding out on the exit a little bit, nearly going off onto the curbs and grass, which certainly shouldn't be happening. And then I went over that section and I thought, right, I'm going to have to be a bit more aggressive over here, and I just totally miscalculated it. Took a ridiculous amount, way too much of the curb, and it catapulted us off into the wall, and sadly, that hasn't helped us in the championship. As you can see, Bottas has won the Drivers' Championship. P3 at USA was enough, despite Checo Perez taking his second consecutive win this season. And actually, very interesting that he's the only driver to have consecutive wins. And he's only had his wins in the last two races. Of course, before that, didn't even get on the top two steps of the podium. So it is a resurgence for the Mexican, and it is his home race today. He has a 12-point lead on Verstappen for P2, who has a 1-point lead on Hamilton. Let's not forget, though, Verstappen did take a grid penalty last time out. Hamilton yet to take a grid penalty. If he takes one today, or if he has taken a grid penalty, certainly hasn't taken many. If he takes one in tomorrow's race video, then of course he's certainly not looking like he's on for a podium in terms of the Drivers' Championship, and he certainly won't be helping out Mercedes in the Constructors, because at the moment it looks like Perez is starting to go away with it, and he's at his home race. I can't see him wanting to falter at all. Charles Leclerc is actually, let me just do the maths, 25 points, 31, 32. Charles Leclerc can't finish P2, but he can finish P3. It would take a disaster for Hamilton and Verstappen, but one of those two has a bad race. Leclerc excels once again. You know, he's second at Mexico. If he does do that, he could be in the top four, or even potentially the top three. That would be a surprise, but wouldn't count him out. Then we get to the long list of drivers who can certainly ruffle the order up a little bit. Of course, we've got Danny Rick in front of us. He leads us by 7 points. Carlos Sainz is behind by 6. Lando Norris has the same as his old teammate. Pierre Gasly has 35. So that is P6 to be decided in the Drivers' Championship. And really, looking at our recent form, we look at Hungary, Belgium, and then USA. No points in Hungary, no points in USA, 1 point in Belgium. Bit of a poor run considering our fantastic start to the season. You don't really know what could happen in the race, really. I don't think we're going to have the pace of the McLarens and the Ferraris this weekend. I think hopefully we'll have the pace of the AlphaTauris to be able to fight with them. But as you can see, any one of us is pretty much in it at the moment. In fact, yeah, we are... Pierre Gasly can't finish ahead of Danny Rick. He can finish ahead of us, however. So it is 4 drivers for that position. Meanwhile, we could drop below Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, and Lando Norris, but that would be quite unlikely. So heading into the weekend, really for us, the target by the end of the weekend is probably P8. I'm going to go P8. I mean, it is a difficult one to think, right, what's the target? But I think we'll go P8. I think we can still stay ahead of either Carlos or Norris because they're probably both not going to have a smooth Grand Prix. I can't see Gasly managing to win to get ahead of us. Then, of course, Seb Vettel, Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso. Those guys could switch with some solid points. The rest still yet to score. The constructors-wise, 2 positions still to be sorted out properly, of course. Yes, I mean, Alpine could finish ahead of Aston Martin, but realistically, that won't happen. The Constructors' Championship not sealed yet, despite Mercedes ahead of Red Bull there. I do believe that Red Bull P1 and 2 the fastest lap will be enough if both Mercedes DNF. It's looking very unlikely there, but Red Bull can definitely claw it back, I think, this weekend. They should still have the better car. We are 1 point ahead of AlphaTauri. If we can finish ahead of AlphaTauri in the Constructors for P5, that would be fantastic to be top of the midfield fight. I mean, it's going to be a difficult race. I mean, I don't know what our pace is going to be in Mexico. I haven't done loads around Mexico. It's going to be a difficult one potentially, or it could be a really good one. Either way, 1 point in it. It all comes down to this weekend's race, and it is going to be spicy. In terms of the sponsors, before we do that, I got this from Jeff. Fuel load in future events. You finished the last race with quite a surplus of fuel. Thanks, Jeff. That might be because we crashed out. If you're comfortable with your fuel management skills, it may be worth considering tweaking your fuel load in future events. Jeff, I'm not planning on DNFing each race. Just in case you thought that, I'm not planning. The reason why we had a lot of fuel left last time might have been because we ended up in the wall on lap 9. Right, manage sponsors-wise. Of course, our 2 extra sponsors were announced. Zenom Dynamics still fine. Plenty of the possible different options. I've enjoyed having Highland on the car. I think we'll keep with them. And actually, I think we'll just keep it the same this season. Continue with Shark. Because I think definitely Shark will probably be gone by the next season. Let's not forget Charles Leclerc, Danny Rick. They're up to 10.5 million. Verstappen and Bottas currently at 12. If we have a look at Norris, still 9, but good chance he could go back up. He's up to 91. Leclerc's still at 89. Rather surprising, but he's got 92 focus. Those two actually got great focus at the moment. Checo still 9 million. Sainz 9 million. Pretty cheap for those guys at the moment. Stroll still struggling with low focus. Bit of a shame for him. But at the moment, we're looking alright. Look at Tsunoda. Quite a way behind Schumacher actually there. So a bit surprising to see that. But what we are going to go with then is just probably save up still to like 10.5 mil. And then when we get past that and we can buy something and still be left with 10.5 mil, we'll upgrade the facilities. In terms of all these, 12, 13, 10, 22, 11, 23... we are going to be absolutely fine in terms of what to use. We don't need to take any penalties this weekend, which is always a welcome thing. We can't switch to anything that's going to be better. And the gearbox with only 4% wear, so we're going to be fine with that one. R&D in progress. We've got 3 of them coming on for the Mexican GP. And 2 of them have gone on. Just forgot about not the facilities, the events. But of course, we have got 2 more upgrades. AlphaTauri are ahead of us at the moment, not by much. Aston Martin, Alpine, Alfa Romeo all there, Ferrari and McLaren and Mercedes very close. Red Bull have quite a lead. We have got these two going. The aero rear downforce diffuser strakes will be ready for the next race. Right, what have we got in here? Okay. It does seem that we've only got one more upgrade. Oh no, we might be alright with that one once this one's done, but not much more. Sorry, not much more to get done in the chassis department, really, before we need an upgrade. Okay, we'll go with the... I think we do need to focus on the aero a bit more. We're going to go for chunky upgrades, because nothing's going to be on the car. So we're going to leave it there. And there we go. The valve timing is on the car, and we remain very close. And look at that! Ferrari up into P2 in the R&D standings. What a nice way for them to finish the season. Look at that, that's fantastic to see. Come on, Ferrari. Good to see Mercedes' dominance ending there in terms of the car. They've dropped quite a way back from Red Bull to the point where they're pretty much going to be higher midfield fight, really. Red Bull could really run away with it this weekend with a 1-2 quite comfortably. You know, if the drivers can keep the composure, they're going to be fine. But of course, here we are, the Mexican GP qualifying. In terms of the race video, that will be split into two chunks. The first part with plenty of action from the race. The second part, I will bring you a bit more in-depth analysis, of course, looking at the race itself and then at the final results of the championship at the end of the season. But that is the plan. Today, we are getting into Quali. Before we have a quick look at the R&D graph, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, totally free, helps me out. Well, let's get having a look at that graph before some exciting qualifying. Well, the R&D graph, the progress history, and I want us to take a little bit of a look at the start of the season. It was Red Bull and Mercedes, pretty much identical there. Ferrari and McLaren, pretty much identical there. And then this midfield all over the place with AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, ourselves, and Alpine. Then a little bit further back, you've got Alfa Romeo, chunk ahead of Williams, and then Haas way off the pace. And if we have a look at it, the bunch has tightened up, you know. The gap from Haas to Red Bull and Mercedes is massively reduced. And you can see, heading into the Mexico Grand Prix, Red Bull have a massive lead in the R&D there. They are looking extremely comfortable this weekend. And then Mercedes haven't really made any changes from Cota. Ferrari suddenly have. They've got some upgrades in, and they just go ahead of Mercedes. The gap between those two is so minimal that it is going to come down to the drivers. And really, we've seen so far this season that Bottas has really outshone Hamilton, and Leclerc similarly with Sainz. And Hamilton, you look at his season, it's not been bad, it's not been good. He's just been made to look terrible because he's been compared to his teammate. It's not exactly terrible, is it? But it's pretty poor compared to his teammate, who's been out driving a car that has only been the fastest car, faster than Red Bull, at one race, which was Spain. Red Bull's been faster at all the other races, and I think also with Ferrari, Sainz has been so strong. You can see the gap from Ferrari to McLaren there, and well, it's actually Ferrari, Mercedes to McLaren. A little bit of a gap there. McLaren dropping a bit off it. They could struggle a bit compared to those guys this weekend. But if Ferrari are right there with Mercedes, you know, it should be Red Bull 1 and 2. But that extra podium position could go to potentially a Ferrari driver, maybe a Mercedes driver, maybe a McLaren driver. If we look a bit further down the order, quite a chunk of a gap to AlphaTauri and ourselves. A little bit of a gap, but nothing there. It's going to come down to the best drivers in the race to decide P5 in the Constructors. Aston Martin a little bit further back. They lead Alfa Romeo, who have jumped back ahead of Alpine. Those guys pretty close. They'll probably have similar pace to our car. We'll just be a few tenths quicker. Then if you look further down the order, Williams have closed back up to Haas. Those guys, well, Haas, let's face it, are actually not too far off. They're not really gaining much on the field, but they're gaining a little bit. Williams, of course, had a terrible season in terms of the R&D. They're catching back up to Haas again after a little bit of a drop in Belgium and Kota. That is, of course, your lovely R&D chart. Red Bull looking comfortable, Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren fighting. Then it's ourselves and AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo and Alpine, and Williams and Haas rounding it all out. This is going to make for a very exciting Mexican qualifying. Here we are then in our lovely pit box for some qualifying at Mexico. Hopefully it'll be better qualifying, specifically at Q1, than it has been in the last 3 races where we were knocked out. Hopefully it'll be a bit less eventful. We'll be able to get out there, put a lap or 2 in, sit back and relax before an actual challenge in Q2. That's what I'm hoping for, but it certainly hasn't been that straightforward in the last few races. That's young Yuki Tsunoda exiting the pits, one of the 2 AlphaTauris, and he's certainly going to be fighting with us this weekend. So is Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman. Of course, AlphaTauri 1 point behind in the Constructors. We'd like it to stay with ourselves ahead of them, ourselves in P5, but it could be a difficult one. We had okay pace in free practice. Hopefully we'll be able to comfortably get out of Q1 into Q2 and fight with the AlphaTauris. We certainly are there in the R&D, but you never know. You never know. The order's certainly looking very interesting, I have to say, with the Red Bulls probably leading, not by as much as you'd think, and then the Mercedes struggling a little bit in free practice, throwing McLaren excelling. It is going to be a very exciting quali. We need to get out on track and get a banker in on a set of softs, so we're going to go out there and do that now. Well, our first lap in quali, and I do believe on the mini-map a Ferrari is going slowly here, and that's Charles Leclerc out the session down the main straight. Don't know what's happened there. What a shame. Is it a mechanical, or is it something different? Green flag's being waved, we won't see the incident. What a shame for Charles, out of the session. Very rare to have an engine go on you during qualifying, and that is a disaster. Had it have happened in Q3, it would have been bad, but he would have been in the top 10 for the race. He won't be now. He'll be at the back of the grid before we put any grid penalties onto anyone's cars. Probably shouldn't be too many this weekend, with it being the season finale, but Ferrari were looking fantastic in the R&D, being able to compete with Mercedes, and they have lost their outstanding performer here. Charles Leclerc has been the better of the 2 throughout the season. He has outperformed Carlos, and I know Carlos has an okay season, but he certainly hasn't had a season like Charles has. Charles has been excelling in that Ferrari, and what a shame for him. The most competitive car yet this season for him to drive, and he's out the session due to it not being able to hold up. They might have made inroads in the power, chassis and aero departments, but they certainly haven't in the durability here if the car can't make it 1 flyer in quali. We come across the line, our first lap, 8/10 off Carlos Sainz. Tsunoda looking very close to him. Tsunoda certainly, despite not having the best driver rating, is going nicely at the moment. You know, he might have worse driver rating than Mick Schumacher. However, I don't think you should let that faze you, because he is doing fantastically well at the moment. We're going again as always. Whether we go quicker or not, I don't know. Certainly going quicker this lap, however. In terms of Mercedes this weekend, they want to try and win the Constructors. There's a potential that they won't. It's very unlikely, however. They have really probably deserved it, the performances that they've had, considering having the second best car at 9 out of the 10 races this season. Red Bull could still win it though, because they have got Ferrari and McLaren who will be getting in the way of Mercedes. Red Bull, however, pretty clear of them. Nikita Mazepin, if you could move out the way, mate, that would be fantastic here, because you are absolutely wrecking our lap, and our lap is going to be wrecked. Move out the way, Mazepin! Move out the way. And this is a disaster. We had a bit of contact there. What is this, Mazepin? Come on. Oh, God. What is it with you, mate? Move. Move, mate. You're like... I mean, I know these cars, they need to fix this. But that... I mean, I really shouldn't have clattered into the back of him a bit there. But that has wrecked our quali lap by about 3/10 there. We don't need a slow Nikita Mazepin in front of us. It's like the real life version, isn't it? Let me just park it in front of you. That's not an impersonation of Nikita Mazepin, but I mean, it's just, he acts like he's king of the world, doesn't he, really? Every time you try to be nice and say something nice about him, it doesn't work. We're going to return to the pits, fluff this lap up a bit, but that is infuriating. At least we're in front of Yuki Tsunoda and Esteban Ocon. We've gone over the auto spin curb, we've tried to stop it, gone into the wall, and that we've collected the Haas, both of us with broken front wings. Let's return to the pits after that. But, oh dear, let's look at it from a different angle. This is Nikita Mazepin's view of the incident, and we've just lost it, and he's caught us. That is my fault, but... oh dear, what an incident. Here in Q1. Oh, God. Well, we certainly could have done...
we've had to spend time repairing
without
the damage
that.
to the car.
That was entirely my fault. I am sorry, Nikita Mazepin, but at the same time, you've just been absolutely ridiculous there. Real shame for Charles. You can see he'll be out in Q1. Hasn't set a time. The order a little bit mixed up at the moment, but the quickest of all drivers, Checo Perez, out front at his home race. Then Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Gasly up in P6. That's a bit of a worry for us. Great pace for the Alpha Tauri. There he is. Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, quite a chunk off the pace. You know, Sainz should be doing better in the Ferrari. Real shame that Leclerc isn't there to fly the flag for them. Then Fernando Alonso, fantastic lap in the Alpine ahead of ourselves. And then Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, looking alright, P12. My teammate Schwartzman, P13. That is a good improvement. Giovinazzi, 14th. Not too bad. Mick Schumacher, a very good 15th. Doing a lot better than his teammate is, blocking other people, and then managing not to avoid the incident. But Mick Schumacher, P15 there, the German. Hopefully he can get out of Q1. That would be quite an achievement in that Haas. Raikkonen, P16. Not too shabby. He is in the drop zone, though, so he's got some work to do. So has Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Now that really is low focus. He's got a better car than that position, really. He should be above that. So should Sebastian Vettel, P18. I don't know if he's had an absolute disaster lap, but if that's everything he can give, he will be out in Q1, and that is going to be pretty poor. Then Russell, Mazepin and Latifi round out the field. Sorry once again, Nikita, but I wasn't expecting a crash. I think we're safe, P10, so we're going to have a look at the results of Quali in a second. Well, your Q1 results. Lando Norris actually quickest in Q1 ahead of Gasly. Those guys went out again. That's, of course, why Perez, Hamilton, Bottas and Verstappen didn't go out again. Ricciardo did, I think Sainz did. Those guys have closed up. But you can see it is 8 cars for pole. It would have been 9 if Charles hadn't have had a mechanical. But it is pretty much 8 cars for pole. You look at Tsunoda, gone again. He's got some fantastic pace this weekend. We're comfortably through in P14 with Robert. Yes, come on. Get in there, Robert. Out of Q1, both of us there, P14 and 15. We didn't go again, but we were pretty comfortable. Giovinazzi out in Q1. Stroll recovered despite the low focus. So did his teammate Vettel. Alonso didn't need to go out again, or if he did, he certainly didn't put a good lap in. Giovinazzi P13. Ocon P16 just scaped through. We do, however, lose Kimi Raikkonen from qualifying. George Russell, P18. Schumacher, P19. Latifi, P20. Nikita Mazepin, P21. And then Charles Leclerc with no time, sadly, due to a mechanical failure. Mazepin was slowest. He will have been able to fix his front wing. It wasn't out of the session. Would have been able to fix that and go again. So, really, didn't cause him much problem because I think he was on his in-lap. So, we didn't cause him too much of a problem there in the Haas, but a bit of an annoying crash in Q1. We got it out of the system, eh? and we can continue on to Q2. At least we're still in it. But I have to say, the front, what do we got there? Look at this. The front 9 separated by 5 tenths. It is going to be close. Don't just look at Red Bull for the lead in terms of pole. Look at Mercedes. Look at McLaren. Look at Ferrari's signs. Look at Alpha Tauri as a whole team. Stroll, as I said, despite the low focus, getting through with Vettel. Alonso, great result for Giovinazzi, my teammate. Ocon just getting through when you say that 2 tenths exactly to get through, but we do lose from Q1. Kimi Raikkonen, George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi, Nikita Mazepin and Charles Leclerc, who couldn't set a time. That's both Haas's, both Williams, an Alfa Romeo and a Ferrari. Time to move on to Q2. The question is, will we be able to set a good enough lap to get into the final part of quali? Well, isn't this a nice place to be, I have to say. What a lovely place to be. Q2, for the first time since Britain, when it was raining. Apparently, there's now some rain on the cards. Rain at Mexico. I mean, that does not sound right. 30 minutes it will be dry. Then, apparently some rain by 60 minutes. Light rain, whether that will be in Q3 or not, we'll have to wait and see. But of course, the first man out on track, Yuki Tsunoda, on the soft tyre compound. How many drivers are going to try the mediums today? Or the softs, Alonso, soft Schwartzman, of course, soft as you'd expect. No real surprises there. I'd expect Yuki to maybe be able to get through in the top 10, of course, without Leclerc and himself setting some fantastic lap times. He could be able to get through. Not as long in Q2, and it's going to be a lot tighter, so we're going to get out on track on a fresh set of softs to hopefully put in a decent starting lap. Well, here we go, Q2, as Yuki Tsunoda has set down the marker here in Quali. We're going to head along to begin our lap. Hopefully, it will be a good one. Warm here in Mexico, it's certainly going to cool down a little bit. Fernando Alonso, 1 minute 17.2. We are going to be getting into the 1 minute 16s here from the faster drivers. Certainly going to get quite a few of them. Don't know if we'll be dipping into that sort of a lap time, but hopefully we can get a decent result here today. Valtteri Bottas into the 1 minute 16s. I think that was 1 minute 16.4. Certainly 1 minute 16s. Might even get 1 minute 15s from the Red Bulls in Q3. Whether we'll ever know or not, it does depend. Of course, we will know from the grid, but we certainly won't know if we don't get out of Q2. So we better get a move on, because I certainly want to be here for the unfolding of the grid in Q3. Of course, in Q2, you don't want to go and do multiple laps on your tyres, because you're going to have to start the race on them if you get through. So we're not going to do loads and loads of laps on our softs here. We're going to try to do a limited amount of laps so that we've actually got some rubber left for if we get through to use them in the race. We were quickest in Sector 1. We come to the end of Sector 2, not quite as quick. Sector 1 generally our speciality. Then Sector 2 were not that great. Sector 3 probably my slowest sector. As you can see, we're playing a little bit with the death through the final sector. But now we can come over the line to go P8, quicker than Perez, but not really good enough. Now, I did say we wouldn't go again, but we're going to go again. Hamilton, 1 minute 16.2s. Are we going to try again? I think we will here. We might as well. I mean, it's a track that's probably going to be a two-stopper, so an extra bit of tyre wear just means pit a little bit earlier. But actually, not too great of a Sector 1. I was pretty happy with the lap we did in Sector 1 actually last time round. Wasn't too happy with the middle and final sector, especially the S's section. But personally, I probably prefer a new set of tyres here to put a lap in on. So I think that's what we might actually do in this session. We might go and get a new set of tyres, a new set of boots, as you do say. We actually might finish this lap here. Not really going that fantastically. No, we're going to return to the pits. We're going to need to go out again. P12 at the moment. Two drivers trying the medium strategy, Checo Perez and Max Verstappen. Verstappen just about pulling it off at the moment, and actually, he looks pretty safe there. Checo Perez certainly doesn't. Danny Rick ahead of Hamilton here. Some pace for the Aussie with Norris ahead of Bottas. The McLarens are fighting the Mercedes. Same power unit in there. And so close in the R&D. In fact, Mercedes have a bit of an advantage that if McLaren are going ahead, their drivers are really outperforming the car. But Danny Rick ahead of Lewis Hamilton by 2/10, then 2/10 to Lando Norris, the championship leader, and also the champion, Valtteri Bottas, P4. Carlos Sainz, just off him, P5, looking pretty comfortable there. So is Max Verstappen. On the mediums, only 7/10 off Danny Rick's best time. That's pretty good, because the mediums aren't that fantastic round here in terms of a lap time. Then, Pierre Gasly, P7. He'll suddenly need to go again. 1.2 seconds off the lead. Double the amount Verstappen is back off Ricciardo. Overall, though, from Gasly, not too shabby, really, of a lap there for the AlphaTauri. But he has got Alonso and Ocon just behind, P8 and 9. Both the Alpines there, a bit of a surprise to see them. Very close between those two. Alonso leading his teammate. Then Yuki Tsunoda rounding out the top 10. Vettel just behind. Ourselves just behind there. So you can see we're only a little bit off. Everyone's probably going to go an extra like 3-4 tenths quicker. So we're probably going to need to go at 6 tenths quicker on our second lap. But not too far away, I can tell you that. Checo Perez currently P13, the Mexican. Will need to go again. He's, of course, on the medium. So when he goes on the softs, for his second lap, he will comfortably get out of qualifying. You know, it's a bit of a one with Max Verstappen where he can stay on the mediums. Perez certainly won't want to. He'll want to go into the softs. Antonio Giovinazzi also in the drop zone there. He, of course, he's done well to get into Q2 in that Alfa Romeo. Lance Stroll's low focus costing him a bit. He's way off his teammates' pace by 4 tenths. Then my teammate Robert also needs to improve. Everyone needs to improve from Vettel downwards. And I would say everyone from Pierre Gasly downwards needs to go out again. Fresh set of boots on here in Q2. And we're going to go and head out on track for our final lap in a second. Well, as you can see, our second and final run, hopefully in Q2. Hopefully won't be the last one in Quali. Sainz has felt safe in this one, so have the McLarens and the Mercedes. Surprisingly, Verstappen's going out again. That lap on the mediums, I'm very much sure will be fine to get him into Q3. Not that great out the final corner. That's costing us a bit down the straight, probably. Well, a quarter of a tenth, a little bit more than that. But we are going to now get our heads down through this lap to put something decent in, and it is a scruffy start to it, and that is not the exit we wanted. A little bit of a shaky start, not what we need. We can go again after this. Wouldn't be the optimum idea and strategy for Quali, but we can go again if we are struggling to put in an okay lap to get us out of Quali, because let's face it, getting through to Q3 is what we need. We need to fight with the AlphaTauris, and we don't want both of them getting through to Q3 with ourselves out in Q2, because that is going to take a battering for our Constructors' Championship hopes. And the team, we're probably going to need to go again here, because this lap certainly hasn't been as exquisite as it needs to be. Of course, Perez will be going an awful lot quicker too. Don't forget that. So we've even got to get a lot better than before through the final corner this lap. We're a little bit better than we were last time, and we will go minimally quicker. Enough for P9. That's how close it is. A tenth quick as P9, but that's not enough. We don't have time to return to the pits, get a fresh set of boots. We have to go again. Because, I mean, everyone else is going to be going quicker here in Q2, so it's all about going again. Aggressive through the first section is the name of the game, and we're actually not that quick through here, even worse than we were last lap. This is a bit of a shame. Verstappen, 1 minute 15, 8.23, the quickest. He will start on the softs like the rest of the grid. His teammate Checo Perez will also do so. We're already out of the top 10 here. It's going to take an absolute miracle of a finish to this lap if we want to get out of Quali. A poor sector 1. We need a good sector 2 and 3 here as we risk it. We're going to have to push it. We're going to have to throw everything at it here. We're going to push the track limits a little bit more. But really, at the moment, it's looking like we're out of quali. Tsunoda is 4/10 quicker than us at the moment. In terms of his lap, we're going to have to go a whole load quicker here. A whole load quicker. And really throw everything at it on the final section of this track. We've exceeded track limits a little bit, but it's about the push to the line. Oh, what a result. I mean, I agree. I was a little bit naughty there. Did cut a bit much of it. It's easily done there. We didn't cut way too much of it, but we still had a bit of the car on the track, but we did cut a bit much there. P9 is sending us through to the next part of quali. A really good result. Verstappen, the quickest ahead of Ricciardo and Perez. Of course, both Red Bulls went again. Then Hamilton P4. Gasly went again to go P5. Norris, Bottas. Then, of course, Sainz. Very close at the top. That's going to play out in Q3. We got through, and so did Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. A bit of a surprise there. Tsunoda just knocked out, with then Vettel behind Ocon, Schwartzman, Giovinazzi, and Lance Stroll. Of course, Stroll, P16, probably the low focus. Giovinazzi, he's done well to get through in that Alfa Romeo. My teammate, a very respectable P14. I'm happy with that. Ocon, P13 for Alpine. Bit of a shame compared to his teammate, but pretty solid considering he's just behind Seb Vettel. Tsunoda is behind us. That's pivotal, but AlphaTauri's Gasly is looking very solid. In terms of ourselves, had I have not cut the corner, it would have been touch and go. I think we would have just got through. It would have been a bit touch and go, but we probably would have got through anyway. Shouldn't have cut that much off the corner. I'm sorry about that, guys. Bit cheeky. But we are through to Q3, and that is where we're going to head now. Welcome back to Q3, people. And it is going to be a bit of rain in this session, but thankfully for us, it will not really affect us at all. That's a bit too far on. So no rain for us, actually, even though it says it on the forecast. Hamilton is getting out on an art lap. I have looked at the replay. Yeah, we probably would have just gained 1/10 there because we actually lost it a bit on the exit by doing that. So really, I didn't even need to cut the corner. I don't know why. I think, right, we'll really take this corner. I took way too much of it. But anyway, we won't dwell on that. It was only a warning, so it's fine. If it's like it would have been a disqualification lap. Or, well, not disqualification, but that would have been invalidated if we'd have gained a significant amount of time. So what we are going to do is we are going to get on track for our first lap. And I think we're going to use this. We've qualified on this set, so we're going to use this set of tyres, and then we're going to have a fresh set for the final run in Q3. Here we are then in Q3. I mean, I was a little bit confused heading into this section because I was like, okay, we're 4/10 behind, but then we managed to get comfortably ahead of Tsunoda by the end of it by gaining 2.5 tenths, so it didn't really make much sense. But anyway, we have Carlos behind us. Hopefully we don't mess up his lap too much. But of course, we can't drop back to let him come through because we have a job to do ourselves here in Quali. It is going to be, hopefully, an exciting Q3. On used tyres for our first lap. We're not going to be absolutely blistering, but it was certainly worth not doing 2 laps on the first set of tyres in Q2, going out again, then doing 2 laps to get out of Quali. And I think it was definitely worth that to really push through in Quali. I mean, Q3, you know, we've only got 1 set of fresh tyres. That will be fine. That's absolutely fine in my opinion. We will use that set of tyres for an explosive finale. Hopefully, what will be a very good final run for ourselves. That would be nice. Sainz has actually set a lap, so we're not wrecking his lap. Verstappen goes quickest, as you'd expect for Red Bull. Attacking this section we go. Bottas only P6 at the moment. Perez then goes even quicker at his home GP. It'd be fantastic if Checo Perez could take P2 in the drivers. It'd also be fantastic if he could take a win at his home GP. We are going to come across the line here, and we don't cut that corner. In fact, it's quicker when you don't cut the corner a little bit on the exit. And we do only manage P10. That's fine though. We're going to return to the garage, fresh set of boots, and get off the grid then, because we will need to get out in a second on a fresh set of softs for our final lap. But Perez on provisional pole, Verstappen just behind. You can see the Red Bull dominance, 1 and 2 separated by under a tenth. Then Hamilton just ahead of Lando Norris for P3, with Gasly just behind them. Then you've got Daniel Ricciardo with Bottas quite a bit off the pace He's followed by Sainz. Only 2/10 off Sainz. We've got Alonso. Then ourselves at the back. But of course, we were use softs. We're going to be out on fresh softs, hopefully, to go a little bit quicker, as you guys can see. Starting to cloud up a bit here. There is no precipitation in Mexico, so we are going to be fine. There's no rain coming anytime soon, so we'll be able to get out on track and put in a final lap in this quali session. Here we go then. We're leading the pack in terms of going for your final laps at the moment. It is going to be a pivotal end to quali for ourselves here. No knockout this time. It is, of course, Q3 just to decide the grid. What I did was cut that corner a bit. It actually compromised my exit, so we're not going to do that again this lap, don't you guys agree? We are now going to push on our final lap, potentially have time for another one after this one. But you can see the long train, and we certainly want to put something good in here in quali. That is the target. The question is, will we be able to go and improve on our last lap? And our first sector is looking a tad quicker here in quali. Looking a little bit quicker. We can now push through the second, beginning with a hard braking there. Shame not to have Leclerc, because he was really, really looking solid in free practice. In fact, he was competing with the Red Bulls, which I was certainly a little bit surprised about there. They're very dominant. Now we've really got into some proper big runs, which is pretty much what you're expecting, as we are going to try and be more aggressive through this section. We do manage that, and we're going a little bit quicker this lap. 3/10 will promote us up the order probably to P9 before Alonso improves, and we end up back down in P10. The man we're trying to beat is, of course, Pierre Gasly. A little bit of warning for corner cutting there. It's fine. It's fine. Absolutely fine. If it's a warning, it's fine. We can take that in quali. Over the line, that's P5. Provisionally, we're going to go again. There's just enough time in this session as Alonso crosses the line, and we don't see him going anywhere near us. We're going to sit here in P5 for a little while, hopefully. The order now will shake up a little bit, as we've got to be careful through this section. Try to carry it nicely on the exit.
You're now in P7.
Down to P7. Gasly's in front. Perez, 1 minute 15. This is what you call driving. Verstappen, 1 minute 15. This is a pretty incredible finish to quali for Red Bull. They're miles ahead of anyone else. In another league of their own. We're being a bit messy here. Getting a little bit excited about Red Bull's dominance and how fantastic they're driving. The sun is coming out for us here on our final lap in Q3. We're going to try and go quicker. Can we get quicker than Pierre Gasly? Can we go in front of him in this quali session? That's the target. It's been a dramatic one from Q1 to Q3, and a little mistake right at the end of it is going to cost us a lot of time. What a shame. How much quicker can we go? Well, that little mistake has cost us, and we're down in P9. A little bit of a shame there. But your pole sitter, Max Verstappen, 3/10 ahead of Checo Perez. Absolutely dominant there, with Bottas P3, despite a dismal start to Q3. Carlos Sainz, P4. That's not too bad, considering how he's gone, taking advantage of a very competitive Ferrari. Look at that. How close was he off Bottas there? Not tenths. Not hundredths, 1,000th off Valtteri Bottas. That's nothing. That is absolutely incredible there. What a drive from Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton, P5. Only 1,000ths off Carlos Sainz. Extremely close there. A little bit further back. Lando Norris ahead of Pierre Gasly. Danny Rick, if we hadn't made that mistake, would have been probably ahead of Danny Rick behind Pierre Gasly. And then Fernando Alonso did well to make it through to Q3. I'm happy with P9. We nearly didn't get out of Q2. But an eventful start to the Mexico GP weekend. And I have to say, the race is going to be fantastic. But one thing is certain, Red Bull are looking dominant. And I think I know what the stadium is going to be cheering for. And that is going to be Mr. Checo Perez. Sergio should be flying tomorrow in the race. But Max Verstappen, the Dutch driver, P1 for Red Bull. That's pole. Once again, dominance for Red Bull, comfortably ahead of the Mercs and a Ferrari. Real shame that Leclerc couldn't be in Q3. But, I mean, look at that, though. Look at that. Dominance from the Red Bulls. Then a Mercedes sandwiching Ferrari's Carlos Sainz, who'll be looking to compete. This is a bit worrying for us because Carlos is in front of us, Lando's in front of us, Gaz is in front of us. If they finish in front of us, we're going to end up dropping down the order in the standings. Likely to stay ahead of Gasly, but drop behind Sainz and Norris. B, we'll also lose out to AlphaTauri in the Constructors. But anything can change in the race. You don't know until the flag is waved on the final lap and you pass that line. Because anything can happen, whether it's the first corner or the final corner. It should be a dramatic season finale. There's plenty to decide. Yes, maybe the Drivers' Championship is gone. Yes, it is. Fine. Bottas has got that. But there's plenty of other stuff in the standings to be decided. But there you have it. P9 for ourselves. Verstappen on pole ahead of the home favourite Checo Perez. And that is Q3 over. We've made it to Q3 finally. Only the second time in the final half of the season. That is, of course, after lovely Silverstone Q3 appearance. But as I said, that is it for today's video. That is it for Quali, and it's setting up a very dramatic race, a top 10 filled with plenty of different teams. And if we are to be exact, we've got 7 different teams. Only 3 teams have 2 drivers. As I said, shame for Charles Leclerc, but it should create a fantastic race tomorrow. The man to keep your eyes on is definitely Gasly, because we've got the implications of the drivers and also the constructors hanging on. Both of us there, and then of course Carlos, Lando. It is going to be a fantastic Grand Prix to finish off the season. I can't wait for it. A Red Bull stronghold with a really fast Red Bull. If you guys have enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all the boring YouTube things that I say to every video. But if you haven't already, then it's not boring to you. It's extremely important that you do it, because it's totally free and it allows me to continue to make this content. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you sometime soon for the season finale.